So, you've seen the patent applications, you've seen the leaked photos. If you've been watching the Giro, you've seen it under Pro Teams for a couple weeks. Now, the day is finally here. This is the brand new 2024 SRAM Red AXS group set. They've updated a lot, and I know you've waited a long time, so let's just jump right into it. My name's Thomas, I work for Jenson USA, SRAM Red AXS 2024. Here we go. Okay, so I'd say aesthetics are half the fun of brand new bike parts, so let's go over what's most obvious first, which is the styling. As you'll see, there are some things here that are familiar. We have the same old SRAM Red word mark that we've seen for years. The crank graphic is pretty similar. Same color scheme, you know, sleek silver and black, and not a hint of red, which has always baffled me, but you'll also see that some things have changed too. Maybe what's most obvious is what's missing. There's a lot of air in this group set, you might say. From the chain to the brake calipers, brake rotors, there are cutouts and holes all over this thing. It's kind of reminiscent of drillium from the old days of cycling. People used to drill holes in their aluminum components to make them lighter. That was a dangerous, not approved by manufacturer customization, but in this case, SRAM has done it for you, so it's perfectly safe. And it's not just for show either. This group set is now 89 grams lighter than the last generation. SRAM claims that it is now the lightest electronic hydraulic group set, top-end road group set on the market, so kudos to them for that. But even though they've saved all that weight, they haven't sacrificed functionality. In fact, they've jammed in some pretty new and pretty impressive features while still decreasing weight, so let's move on to those next. What SRAM is most proud of probably with this group set is the new braking. So if you're familiar with SRAM's road line, Force, Rival, Apex, AXS, all of those shifters share the same architecture. So they have similar hoods. The main differences are in the internals and the brake lever. But for SRAM Red, there's an exclusive brand new architecture. So all new, exclusive to SRAM Red. So what they've changed, first, their main goal was to improve braking power. For road hydraulic disc brakes, there's kind of a back and forth. There's a fight between packaging and power. So for, say, a mountain bike brake, really all you have to do is put the brake lever where you would normally expect it to be, and you have freedom of design around everything else. But for a road brake lever, you have a problem, which is that your hand has to wrap around the master cylinder. So in early generations of hydraulic road group sets, there were some compromises, there were some issues with reliability, some issues with power, some issues with ergonomics. SRAM has worked hard and they claim to have solved all those things. So what they did for Red is they rotated the master cylinder 90 degrees, so it's horizontal in the body now. You'll see that the hood is more compact at the front. It's kind of got a smaller knob, but the reach is longer. So it's almost like it has a lower stack and a longer reach. That means that the hood can stay nice and compact, slim, easy to fit your hand around. I like to run my levers really close into the bars, so I'll dial the reach adjust all the way back. But that means that my 3 fingers that are wrapped around under the hood kind of get pinched between the front of the drop and the back of the brake lever. But Red's reach is so long that I can fit 4 fingers back there comfortably, so nobody should have any problems with that. I'd say that's pretty impressive. And they've done that without making the levers less accessible for smaller hands either. The sizing range that's acceptable for these brake levers of hands, the hand sizing that works well with these levers is wider than ever before. SRAM has really good reach adjust and contact point adjust, so you can set, SRAM says, the lever anywhere you want to that's comfortable for you, and you aren't going to have problems with pinching your fingers against the bars or having to reach too far and kind of unwrapping your hands. And really what SRAM is promising here is the first true one-finger braking on a road bike. So basically what we've come to expect from mountain bikes, all you have to do is put 1 finger on the brake lever and you should be able to stop the bike in any situation, have total control over your modulation. That's a pretty impressive claim, pretty impressive engineering that they've put into making that. So another feature that SRAM added to these controls, and something that I've been waiting for them to do for quite a while, is they've added these bonus buttons on the inside of the hoods. So these are really the answer to the auxiliary buttons that Shimano has had on their Di2 shifters for a few generations now. They more or less do the same thing. They're kind of similar to a blip. So what these buttons do is you can set them up to trigger an ANT plus accessory. So you can, for example, turn your headlights on and off, or you can change data pages on your computer. But what I think is probably going to be the most popular choice for them, and what I'm personally going to use them for, is as auxiliary shifters. So if you ride road, you'll know about the more popular hood's arrow position, where you kind of grip the top of the hoods and have your forearms parallel to the top of the bars. With these new bonus buttons, it'll be super easy to just kind of click from the side and shift your drivetrain stay in that position longer, stay aero for longer. The cool thing is that because these still use the eTAP shift logic, you can shift both the front and rear derailleurs with just this set of buttons. So you can click back and forth to shift the rear derailleur, and then you can press both to enable your front shift. So super cool that SRAM has added this. I like that the location is on the side of the shifter too. That's a little easier to reach instead of being on top. I'm pretty impressed that they've added this feature now. So SRAM has also added a couple other new things to this group set in terms of the drivetrain. For gearing, they have 2 new cassette options in addition to the original 2. It has the same familiar steel X-Dome ultralight construction, but like I said, there are 2 new options. One is 10 to 30 tooth cassette, which is kind of an intermediate option for racing. That's what we have here. And they also have a new 10 to 36 wide range cassette. So 36 doesn't sound too big, but remember that this starts with a 10 tooth small sprocket. So that means that this is the same range effectively as an 11 to 40 cassette in the rear. So that's pretty big for a 2x-pavement drivetrain. They've also made some changes to the new cranks. It has a pretty similar shape to before, nice new graphics, but they've saved 29 grams off the already super light carbon crank arms. They have also added a 160mm option, which I really like to see. That's kind of the new wave and fit. More people are trying out shorter cranks, so it's nice to see a big manufacturer taking on 160mm arms in a carbon format. I use 155s, I love them. This makes the group set more accessible to people who have those kinds of fit setups or people who are a little shorter, so good all around. So that pretty much covers the brand new 2024 SRAM Red group set, and I think it's pretty much everything you would expect from a new top-end road group set in this year. Lighter, sleeker, more tech packed in. SRAM has really done a great job with this one. One thing I want to mention is that the complete group set is only going to be available for a limited time after launch. That is, there's a limited number of kits. They come bundled with the brand new Hammerhead Karoo 3, which is cool. But if you want to get all the parts in one box, that's going to be a limited number of kits. Thereafter and at launch, all the parts are going to be available separately too. I also want to mention that the parts are available separately because this group set is, in the age of planned obsolescence, this is pretty impressive. Pretty much everything is backwards compatible. So the only exception would be the rear derailleur. The old rear derailleur doesn't have the capacity to work with a new wide range 10 to 36 tooth cassette, but everything else will work. So all the hydraulics will work, all the electronics will work. You can mix and match as you like. And at Jenson USA, we're happy to have everything in stock for you at launch. So feel free to hop on over to our website, check it out. So if you like that video, click through to the next one on the playlist. Check out our channel for more great content on all things bike. And as always, keep pedaling.